GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action. Live from the GMNA News Center, this is the Lunch Break News Hour.
Good afternoon, Toronto. I'm Jordan Parker. Police will be briefing us today on the 2022 Scarborough shooting death and will have an update on the gunfire outside the INKAS plant in North York. Traffic is heavy with concerts and construction, and Rhea Bistro faces eviction. Over to you, Nathan.
The Distillery District will host the annual Summer Street Art Walk this weekend, showcasing live mural painting, local musicians, and food trucks from noon until 6.
The walk includes guided tour every hour, free entry for all ages, and a pop-up gallery featuring emerging Toronto artists throughout the afternoon.
Visitors can access the event via the King Street streetcar, with additional bike racks installed near the main plaza to accommodate cyclists attending the art walk.
The event also partners with local charities, donating a portion of food truck sales to community programs and promises family-friendly activities all day. Lots to get to, let's begin. Good morning, Toronto.
The Toronto Police Service announced it will brief the media on new details surrounding a 2022 shooting in Scarborough that claimed the life of a 31-year-old man. Officers say an unknown suspect approached the victim's vehicle and opened fire, leaving the man dead inside his car. The incident occurred on November 12, 2022, and has remained under investigation for years. Police say the upcoming briefing will release additional information about the suspect's movements and any forensic findings that have emerged. Detectives have not yet identified a motive, and no arrests have been made. The service emphasized that the release aims to keep the public informed as the case progresses, and to encourage anyone with relevant information to come forward. The briefing is scheduled for later today at the headquarters on Queen Street West.
Police officers arrived at the INKAS armored vehicle plant on Weston Road near Finch Avenue West just before 2 a.m. Tuesday after receiving reports of gunfire outside the facility. The incident occurred on the north side of Weston Road, adjacent to a mixed-use neighborhood. Responding units from the Toronto Police Service found multiple rounds striking the perimeter of the North York headquarters, causing visible damage to the building's exterior and a security fence. No injuries were reported among staff or nearby residents, and investigators are canvassing the area for evidence. INKAS, a global manufacturer of armored vehicles, confirmed that the incident disrupted operations but did not compromise any stored vehicles. Authorities noted that the shots did not target a specific vehicle and security cameras captured several muzzle flashes. A forensic team has been deployed and the investigation remains ongoing.
An industrial fire erupted just before 4 a.m. at the waste transfer station near Disco Road and Highway 427 in Etobicoke. Toronto Fire Services arrived within minutes, deploying several engines and a ladder unit, while emergency responders established a perimeter and began evacuating nearby properties. The blaze, fueled by stored materials, has generated thick black smoke that remains visible from the highway and continues to burn despite aggressive suppression efforts. Officials confirmed this is the second major fire at the same facility in the past 12 months, prompting questions about safety protocols. Fire crews are working through the night to contain the fire, and the incident remains ongoing as of this morning. No injuries have been reported, and authorities are monitoring air quality for potential impacts on surrounding neighborhoods.
Toronto Community Housing announced today it will overhaul its repair process after the Ontario Auditor General released a report calling for extensive reforms in Toronto, Ontario. The agency, which manages the city's largest stock of social housing, faces the prospect of losing 50% of its capital repair budget. In response, TCHC pledged to streamline inspections, prioritize emergency fixes, and accelerate contractor contracts to keep units safe and habitable. Officials said the changes will roll out over the next 12 months with regular progress updates to the auditor's office. The announcement came from TCHC's headquarters, and the agency will work with the city's housing department to align funding requests. Stakeholders will monitor compliance as the Auditor General's office prepares a final recommendation later this year. The reform plan is now underway. The effort remains ongoing as the agency tackles the looming budget cuts.
Yesterday, Fire Chief Jim Jessup of the Toronto Fire Department issued a stark warning after an electric bicycle ignited on a downtown street. The incident, which sparked a small blaze before firefighters contained it, prompted Jessup to remind owners that faulty batteries, improper charging, and damaged wiring can turn a convenient micro-mobility device into a fire hazard. He urged riders to inspect cords, use only manufacturer-approved chargers, and avoid charging near flammable materials. The department also advised anyone who notices swelling, unusual heat, or a burnt smell to stop use immediately and contact a qualified service center. Jessup emphasized that while e-bikes remain popular for commuting across the city, neglecting basic safety steps can endanger riders and nearby pedestrians. Authorities will continue monitoring similar reports as the city's micro-mobility fleet expands.
We'll hear how Councillor Chow is fighting to reclaim island land after the federal pause on airport expansion. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Welcome back, folks. We've got the top headlines, and coming up, Nathan Cole will break down today's local stories you need to hear.
Yesterday, Councillor Olivia Chow moved an urgent proposal before Toronto City Council, urging the province to return land on the Toronto Islands and reinstate the city's participation in the Billy Bishop Airport Agreement. The motion follows the federal government's decision to halt the planned airport expansion, a project that relied on island parcels. Chow argues the city must regain control of the site to protect local interests and preserve the airport's future role in serving commuters. The provincial government will now consider the request, while the council prepares to debate the implications for travel options and the downtown waterfront. The development comes at a time when Torontonians are watching how airport capacity and island access might shift under shifting federal and municipal policies. The city will now await the province's response, a step that could determine how the airport functions and how the islands are used moving forward.
Gunfire erupted at the U.S. consulate yesterday, prompting a police response. Officers heard what appeared to be 2 rounds striking the building before a vehicle fled the scene. The shots rang out near the consulate's main entrance on Front Street, and nearby businesses secured their doors as a precaution. Toronto police pursued the suspect, but the chase was called off when the driver reached speeds deemed unsafe for city streets. A tactical unit arrived and tried to deploy a spike strip, but the suspect escaped before it could be activated. No injuries were reported, and consulate remained operational after a security sweep. This marks the second attack on the diplomatic mission this year, following a March incident that also involved gunfire. Police are reviewing surveillance footage and have asked anyone with observations to come forward. The investigation remains ongoing as authorities work to determine motive and broader threats.
Max Scherzer took the mound in Washington yesterday, marking his return from the Blue Jays' injured list and his 42nd birthday with a start in the series opener. The veteran right-hander, who has spent the past weeks rehabbing, delivered a steady performance that gave Toronto fans a glimpse of what his arm could add to the rotation as the club pushes toward the playoff stretch. While the game unfolded across the border, the impact was felt back home, where Blue Jays supporters track his velocity and durability with the same intensity as any homegrown pitcher. Scherzer's appearance also gave the coaching staff a chance to evaluate his health ahead of the next stretch of games in Toronto, offering a potential boost to a staff that has relied heavily on younger arms this season.
City Council is set to meet this Sunday afternoon to consider a 1-month honorary co-naming of a downtown stretch for the global K-pop group BTS. The proposal, part of Toronto's occasional practice of granting honorary street names, would temporarily attach the band's name to the block for 30 days, a nod to the thousands of local fans who flock to concerts and streaming events. Officials say the short-term designation aims to celebrate the cultural impact of the group while keeping the city's naming process flexible. If approved, signage could go up within days, giving fans a fresh photo opportunity and adding a pop culture highlight to the neighborhood. The council's decision will be recorded during the scheduled meeting at 2:20 p.m. on Sunday. The move reflects Toronto's reputation as a vibrant, multicultural hub where music trends often translate into citywide celebrations.
The city's heat wave this summer has laid bare stark gaps in Toronto's tree canopy, prompting officials to accelerate a city-wide greening push. The municipal government announced a new program to plant thousands of trees across neighborhoods where shade is scarce, and to weave climate change resilience into every new development plan. Planners say the effort will focus on schools, parks, and vacant lots, aiming to lower surface temperatures and improve air quality for residents who are bearing the brunt of soaring heat. Funding will come from a combination of municipal bonds and provincial grants, with the first planting slated to begin within weeks. Officials stress that expanding the canopy is a long-term strategy, but the immediate goal is to provide relief as temperatures climb higher each day. Neighborhoods that gain new shade are expected to see reduced energy bills and healthier outdoor spaces for families.
Now let's take a quick look at your afternoon forecast with our weather team.
A lingering low-pressure trough draped over the Great Lakes keeps Toronto cool while the jet stream rides high. On this date, Toronto once baked to a record high of 32.4 degrees in 2002, a spike that rode the tail end of an unprecedented heat wave sweeping southern Canada. The chillier counterpart arrived in 2003, when a sudden Arctic surge drove temperatures down to a record low of 14.2 degrees, a rare cold snap for late July. By comparison, today's climate normals sit around a high of 24 degrees and a low of 17 degrees, underscoring how today feels modest against those extremes. The live radar shows a clean canvas across the province. No rain echoes from the west, and the low-pressure envelope remains dry as the jet stream brushes the region from the southwest at 39 kilometers per hour. With no frontal boundaries in sight, the atmosphere stays stable, and the city will stay precipitation-free through the afternoon, clearing completely by early evening. That brings us to today's outlook. At noon, Toronto sits at 21 degrees with partly cloudy skies and a humidity of 98%, a dew point that matches the temperature, signaling a saturated air mass. A low-pressure system drifts slowly eastward, holding steady and allowing the jet stream aloft to channel mild southwest flow at 39 kilometers per hour, keeping temperatures modest. Light northeast breezes of 10 kilometers per hour add a gentle stir, while the maximum wind later this afternoon will reach 21 kilometers per hour from the northwest, still below the gust threshold. The UV index reads 5, and with no active alerts, the afternoon will remain dry, clearing toward a clear night. Wednesday opens with a high of 24 degrees and a low of 17, clear skies under a lingering high-pressure ridge. Thursday climbs to a warm 28 degrees peak, still clear, as the jet stream shifts slightly northward, reinforcing sunshine. Friday brings a modest cooling to 27 degrees, overcast clouds forming as a weak upper trough nudges the low-pressure system closer. Saturday's high settles at 26 degrees with a low of 20, and a light fog blanket may drift in during the early morning, a relic of the lingering moisture. Sunday turns wet with a high of 22 degrees, a low of 19, and a 60% chance of rain as a cold front pushes in, ending the week on a damp note. And that's your weather. Remember, the lunch break is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.
Traffic, snarled with concerts and construction, the Jays just clinched a win and Reyes Bistro faces eviction. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Fleet Street is closed end-to-end today, from Angelique Street to Strachan Avenue. Traffic is diverted onto Queen and King, with queues spilling into the downtown core. The closure also pushes trucks onto the Gardiner, adding to the evening rush. North of that, Yonge Street is fully shut between Dundas Street West and Shooter Street. Vehicles are rerouted onto Bay, Richmond, and nearby College. The two closures together can add 15 to 20 minutes to a downtown crossing. On the highway, the 401 westbound has multiple lane closures between Avenue Road and Jane Street. That segment is crawling, with backup feeding onto the Gardiner entrance and the Allen Road on-ramp. Westbound drivers may use the Gardiner eastbound to the Don Valley Parkway or Highway 427 as alternatives. The TTC's Shepherd line will close early this afternoon as part of its nightly schedule, so riders should shift to the parallel bus routes along Shepherd Avenue. Bloor, Danforth, Lake Shore, and Queens Quay are moving freely. Eastbound Queens Quay and Lake Shore remain clear, while the area around the Intercare Center will see additional event traffic this evening. Expect lingering slowdowns near the concert venues this afternoon, but the rest of the network should stay clear.
Today's lineup is light, but the week ahead is anything but. First up, the city's biggest stages are gearing up for a triple headliner concert series. Neo, J, Cole, and Karol G will each take the main floor at the iconic venue later this week, giving fans a chance to hear chart-topping hits live. If you've been waiting for a night out that feels like a throwback to the golden era of R&B and hip-hop, this is the moment. Meanwhile, the Toronto Caribbean Carnival 2026 is already in full swing across the streets, flooding the city with feathers, glitter, and the rhythm of steel pan drums. It's the perfect excuse to break out bright colors, sample island street food, and soak up the island vibe without leaving downtown. So while there's nothing on the clock right now, keep an eye on those tickets and your calendar. The music and the carnival will have you heading out the door with a smile. And now here's Marcus with sports.
Toronto's baseball buzz spikes as the Jays clinch a tight win and spark trade talk. Kazuma Okamoto's surprise steal turned a routine at-bat into the decisive run, as he later crossed home on Miles Straw's single in Toronto's 3-2 victory over Washington. The aggressive base running forces the Nationals to respect the Jays' small ball options and could shape lineup flexibility moving forward. Max Scherzer described his start at Nationals Park as special, recalling the familiar sights of his former home. That personal connection fuels his competitive edge, and the veteran's comfort in Washington could translate into quality innings for Toronto as the rotation seeks consistency in the stretch run. Analysts convened after the Jays' win to gauge Max Scherzer's market value ahead of the trade deadline. With his veteran durability and recent strong outings, Toronto could command a premium package, yet the club must weigh depth needs against the cost of parting with a frontline ace.
Raya, the cozy Moroccan bistro tucked on Carla Avenue in Cabbagetown, is fighting an unexpected eviction battle. Owner Wafa El Razi says her landlord has piled on taxes, maintenance, and insurance charges without ever providing an itemized bill, prompting a notice of default just as the restaurant celebrates its first anniversary. The kitchen, known for its fragrant tagines and warm hospitality, has become a gathering spot for families and newcomers alike, turning a quiet street into a lively crossroads of flavor and culture. If Raya closes, the neighborhood loses more than a dining spot. It loses a place where stories are shared over steaming couscous. Toronto thrives when its small community-driven kitchens stay open. And coming up, a bright note on how Toronto plans to expand its tree canopy, turning heat wave challenges into greener streets.
Coming up tonight at 6, the local sunset. Your neighborhood, your city, your news. From city hall decisions to the stories happening right on your street, we cover what matters most to Montrealers. Join us tonight at 6 p.m. on GMna for the local sunset, Montreal's evening newscast.
Toronto's newest green space just added a 10-acre expansion at Beadosage Park, featuring a soaring zipline and a massive 300-ton crane that will lift future rides. The development promises fresh recreation for families, fitness fans, and thrill seekers alike, with new pathways and viewing decks slated for next summer. Carl Dumont is there. Carl Dumont.
Thanks, Jordan Parker. I'm standing on the newly widened promenade of Beadosage Park, the wind tugging at the freshly painted benches as the sun glints off the river that wraps around Uquaman-Minising Island. Behind me, the massive 300-ton Atlas crane, restored to its former glory, looms like a steel sentinel, its rust-kissed arms now a backdrop for families snapping photos. To the north, a bright red zipline stretches from the new hilltop platform down to the meadow, the line humming as the first riders zip past, laughter echoing across the 3,000-person event lawn that spreads like a green carpet. Along the 4-kilometer Lassonde Art Trail, 7 new sculptures emerge from the foliage, each a conversation between light and concrete. Nearby, paddlers glide through Canoe Cove, the water rippling under their blades as children cheer from the banks. This expansion turns a modest green space into a vibrant community hub, inviting Torontonians to play, pause, and picture their future together. Carl Dumont, virtually at Beadosage Park.
On Tuesday morning on College Street, near the Rogers Center, Blue Jays outfielders Louis Varland and Miles Straw opened the doors of a Tim Hortons. The shop was already humming with commuters and the scent of fresh-baked donuts mixing with the clatter of espresso machines. Still in their gray sweats, the two ordered a mountain of coffee, large, steaming mugs for every shift, and a tray of classic Boston cream and honey crullers that the clubhouse calls a secret weapon on road trips. While the barista poured the first cup, Varland laughed about a game-changing double he hit last month, and Straw joked that rival fans swear the donut glaze is why the Jays win. When the order was boxed, the players slipped the bag through the stadium's back door, greeted by a chorus of grateful cheers from teammates in the locker room. That simple act of sharing a familiar taste turned an ordinary coffee run into a moment of camaraderie that fuels the team's spirit long after the final out. It's a reminder that small gestures keep a city's heart beating together.
In the bustling East End Emergency Department of Calgary's Foothills Medical Center, a quiet transformation has been taking shape. For weeks, patients awaiting a psychiatric hospital admission have been confined to hard cushioned chairs, the fluorescent lights humming above them. When the wait stretched to 16 days, a group of local volunteers and a handful of nurses launched a modest comfort lounge in the hallway, a corner of soft armchairs, gentle music, and a wall of hand-stitched blankets. One evening, a teenager named Maya, clutching a knitted scarf from the volunteers, whispered that she finally felt seen. After a gentle assessment, she was admitted to a psychiatric unit, and a week later walked out of the hospital arm in arm with her mother, laughing about the scarves now hanging in her bedroom. The lounge, initially a stopgap, has sparked a broader conversation among administrators about staffing and community partnerships, and early data show the average wait time dropping from 2 weeks to just under 10 days. It's a reminder that when a community steps forward, even the longest waits can become a bridge to healing.
Thank you, Toronto, for joining us on the lunch break. Today's coverage of the gunfire at the U.S. consulate reminded us how quickly our city can change. We appreciate your trust and look forward to bringing you more insight tomorrow at noon. See you then.